Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home. This episode of Welcome Home is brought to you by DVC Resale Market. Thank you for joining us on episode 334 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. I'm Tom, here with Trevor. How's it going, Trevor? Happy New Year, I guess.
Happy New Year, yeah.
I kind of hate when people say Happy New Year to me. I don't know why.
Really?
I don't know. New Year's feels like a kind of a made up thing to me. I don't know. It's sure we're changing our calendars over, but it's, I mean, I guess all holidays are really arbitrary, right? But
that is true. And I will say this, my New Year's, we oddly have some traditions to our New Year's that I realized this year. So it's like we were talking before the show, my son, he was spending a bunch of time hanging out with his friends and whatnot, as teenagers do. And it did cut a little bit into our New Year's tradition. We still ended up doing what we normally do anyway, but we ended up pushing it a little bit. But it was one of those things where when it happened, I was like, I had that moment of like panic and like, oh no, like this is, it's ruined kind of thing, right? Which is funny because, like you said, it is really an arbitrary day at the end of the day. Yeah. But there is something to be said for Christmas and New Year's. You have certain things that you like to see happen, and so I get it. I get your point about not wanting to say Happy New Year's, but I think it's valid. But also, I will say I said this to my wife too. Watching TV on New Year's is not good anymore.
What is that? What do you mean? Like the nighttime things? Yeah.
So we used to watch like I remember when I was a kid, we used to watch like the Dick Clark New Year's Eve countdown stuff.
Yeah, no, it's Ryan Seacrest.
Yeah, but it's not good anymore. Like I don't know, or maybe I don't know. I just don't like it. I'm not. Enjoy it if you like it, but I just don't.
I think part of it is because you're watching it and you're like, I don't know who any of these people are. Now, given that's part of it, right? But I will say though, this year we did watch a little bit of it, and I did know everybody that was there because they had some older artists, and they also had like the K-pop Demon Hunters doing their thing. I think my bigger problem with it was that they I feel like they used to do all the musical performances like in Times Square in New York, and now it's like we're in Kansas City, we're in Chicago, like we're in Vegas. Yeah. Like they were just doing it like all over the place, and it's just like I don't know, it felt kind of weird. I
think maybe that's part of it is that that I get the like they're trying to include more places because it is everybody's celebrating New Year's Eve, but like you said, it felt very much like you were watching like Times Square, right? And it felt like very like that was where it was happening. But now that they've kind of spread it out, it doesn't, I don't know.
Yeah, I just, every time I see that, I think to myself, like, I could never do New Year's in Times Square. Because I'm like, first of all, like, number one, I would have to go to the bathroom like two hours into that. And there's no way you're getting out of that crowd. Like, there's just no way you're getting out of it.
I heard some awful things about how people managed to be there for 19 hours straight.
That's insane. It's not worth it. It's not.
Yeah.
I mean, no offense if you've done it before. Maybe it was worth it to you. It feels like a once in a lifetime thing that you would do and never do it again.
I would never even do that once in a lifetime.
No,
that doesn't seem like something that I would enjoy.
I would not either. But how was your Christmas? Was Christmas good?
Christmas was good. It was funny enough. It was, we had talked about this as well beforehand that. My son got a new PC for Christmas and my wife got a Switch too. I got some games and stuff as well, but I spent most of my Christmas day setting up stuff. So like my son's computer, we had to like move everything over from his old computer to his new computer, which was because there was a hard drive we had to pull out and everything. So it was a great day because he was very much in it with me, and like he was like terrified. He was like, don't let's make sure we're grounded. We don't want to zap the PC. And I'm like, it's fine. I know what I'm doing.
I was gonna say, it's like, what, you think your dad's a rookie here? Come on, man. Exactly. Like, it's the first hard drive he swapped in his life. Come on.
Right. Yeah. And so like, I get his concern because, it was something new and shiny for him. And he was like, concerned about it. But, him and I like set it up together, which was great. We got everything configured. Once he had it set up, I very much got the enjoyment out of, he had like, there was a couple of points where like his friends came over and he was flexing on them with, oh, did you see my new PC? Yeah. It's got this. And,
yeah.
and he went so far as like, he was actually customizing the fans and everything that,
oh my gosh,
because he has all the LED fans. Yeah. So it's all like pulsing the right colors and everything. And I was like, good, enjoy it. So
that's nice.
So yeah, we had, and then my wife, like I said, she's a big Legend of Zelda fan, so she got a Switch too, and she was playing Tears of the Kingdom, but then she got to play the upgraded version of Tears of the Kingdom, which she like. Honestly, that game's crazy. I just need to say that, like, if you haven't played it, like, there's so much stuff in it. It's insane.
Yeah, I've heard that's a great game. I have had nonstop family for the past 2 weeks here.
Yeah, that's right. You had like the Griswold thing going on, didn't you?
100%, except people would leave and then come. So like it wasn't as bad as there where they like, the kids were having to sleep in the same bed kind of thing. But we had family leave and then family come, and then it's been family nuts, which is great. I mean, listen, I've been honest on the show about these things. I have 3 sets of family. My parents have been divorced and remarried for a long time, and so to get everybody in to do the Christmassy stuff with, and my daughter's also the only grandchild on one of the sides anyway, right? So everybody wants a piece, like it's everybody wants in, which I appreciate and everything, but it's just hard to accommodate around the holidays, especially. And we've been nonstop, like I said. I mean, I still have family here. My in-laws are here as we speak. So which is great. I mean, listen, I relish the time that they get to spend with my daughter, and that's all great. But it's been a lot. We I feel like I've been constantly like cooking for the past like 2 weeks, because we had we obviously for Christmas we made Christmas Eve we made a bunch of food, Christmas Day we did, and then New Year's we had like a little party. We had people over for New Year's, and my daughter got a karaoke machine for Christmas, so we were doing karaoke. Oh, nice. So that was fun. Really, it's just like a speaker with 2 wireless mics. Like it doesn't have the rest of the karaoke piece, but we you can do that on the TV and all that. It's fine, but I think my biggest disappointment this year, and I didn't notice it until after, but my daughter's getting a little older, right? And so she still gets like toys and stuff, but she gravitates more towards arts and crafty type stuff and clothes and things like that, right? So this year was the first year that I didn't get to put anything together, and I love putting stuff together. So like I didn't get to put any toys together. There were none of that. And so, which is kind of, a bummer, because I like putting stuff together. Like last year I had to put together the Barbie Dream House. That took me hours. Like didn't do that this year. But
yeah, I get you on that, because I had a similar thing this year. Like it was, I'm further down the line than you, that my son is, he's going to be an adult next year, or in Canada, or at least in Alberta. Like he's right? I mean, 18 is legal adult age in Alberta, and he's turning 18 next year. So, I kind of hit that wall of like, this is the last time it's going to be, us with a kid kind of thing. Right. Yeah. And so, yeah, I get what you mean, is that, things change. It sucks, but also it sucks because you want it to stay that way forever, but also you want to see what they do next, right? Like, it's a hard thing, because it's like you say, with your daughter, it's like, you see where she's growing and changing and everything, and it's like you don't want to stop that, but at the same time you're like, no, wait, I'm not ready to exactly. I'm not ready to move past putting stuff together. Like, even I'll admit, we still have we have a lot of toys from when my son was little that we held on to deliberately, not with the like, those are for our, I mean, if we end up having grandkids. I'm not putting that pressure on my son to do one thing or another.
Yeah.
But if we do, it's like, I would offer those up to, like, hey, those are for, your child to play with the same that you did. But, we also kind of keep them too, because they're a weird bit of nostalgia that, I don't need to have these toys in my house. They're not doing anything, but they do have some meaning behind them.
Yeah.
Right. So
I get it.
And I'm not going to take them apart and put them back together just for that feeling, though.
I just like putting things together. I think the big, I think my daughter, I don't know what her favorite has been, right? She's got a lot of stuff going on, right? But the one thing that's been a constant in our house, and I think I might have mentioned this in a previous episode, but my daughter got a Tamagotchi, which feels like a blast from the past that these are back again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Back and better.
Well, the funny thing about it is they didn't change a thing in 20 years. Like, they're exactly the same as they were.
Really? I figured that the components inside would be better.
I mean, maybe they are, but the screen's the same. It's still three buttons. But
the buttons were awful on those, I remember. Like, I remember mine breaking and like... Yeah,
maybe the buttons are still, I mean, I don't know. The buttons are a bit, it's like the screen is exactly the same as it was, right? Now, I think there are other versions you can buy that are more updated, but we bought like an old school kind of one. And so it's funny because I think Tamagotchis were originally out when I was in middle school, right? So it's actually more than 20 years. It's been like 30 years, And so, I'm sitting here with this thing going off. My daughter's like, I don't know why my Tamagotchi's so sad. I'm like, okay, let me try to figure this out. And looking at it, because, they don't really give you like a lot of directions. Like, they tell you like what things are, but they don't tell you like how to actually make the Tamagotchi happy and not die. So you know what I mean? Outside of like feeding it, I guess. But we already killed two of them, so it's already died twice. But it's it's fine, which is fine. But it's just
you're teaching about life.
Well, so it's funny you say that, because my daughter has been saying to me for a while now, she's like, I want like a hamster, or I want fish or whatever. And I'm like, okay, but understand that, if you have these things, daddy's not going to be taking care of them all the time. You need to take care of them, And so in a weird way, I'm trying, the Tamagotchi is in a weird way kind of teaching her responsibility of like caring for a thing is not just like a thing you can do sometimes. You have to do it always, right?
Yeah,
and so,
and
I know it's not, a perfect, obviously, parallel to it, but it does. I mean, I think she's understanding it a little bit more. So, so there's that, because I know I'm not going to be able to keep the lid on that one for a while here. My daughter is obsessed with axolotls, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because she's obsessed with them, I was like, I wonder how difficult it is to take care of an axolotl, right? Because like
axolotls are
they're an axolotl.
They're a lot.
They're an axolotl to deal with. I know. I from what I read, it is a little bit challenging. So that idea kind of went out the window. But listen, when I was a kid, I had fish, I had chameleons, I had mice, I had hamsters. I mean, I always had like a menagerie of animals that I would take care of, I definitely want to do that. I just we haven't really done it yet, but I think probably some point in the next year or so here. But yeah, listen, it's been, the holidays flew by, seriously, like flew by. It's funny because we were talking before we maybe on the last episode that we were planning on, you and I were planning on getting all this podcast stuff done while we were off, and we both
started some things.
Yeah, we started some things, but we both got busier than we thought we were going to be.
Yeah.
And I really only had a couple days here and there that I really could actually have time to myself to try to do some of the podcast stuff. So but to be
and I will say this, it's like you said, being busy, having family around, it's, there is no expectation that, just because we have time to ourselves, that it's spent on building out the podcast. Like I also do firmly believe, I guess, I don't know for you, like for me, dealing with family, I shouldn't phrase it like that, but like, being in like family situations and everything, for me, it is very draining. Like
it's exhausting.
It's like, I'm not somebody who fills my battery on social interactions. It drains my battery. So, I do get the point of like, you have a bunch of people over, you're doing stuff. And then it's like, oh, I've got a day. It's like, you can't take that next day to like, I'm going to go and do all the other things I was going to do. It's like, you need time to recharge. You do need time to, it's valid. I get what you're saying. And like I said, it was the same thing for me, is that it was like, I just needed some days to recharge and just, be to myself, because, sometimes you need that too. And we have, I will say, the fact that we started things with the podcast,
that's true. Yeah.
is good, because at least now that it's started, we've already talked about like, we're going to get some momentum on it. And it's something that I feel that, Tom and I are excited about this, and I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to, y'all can sit and think about what's happening, but, we want to do some things, and, just having that initial momentum on it is, I think, bigger than anything else, because getting started is the hardest part. So
it is. And especially when you're talking about stuff, around, like anything that involves creative work, it takes time. It just takes time.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah. It just takes a lot of time and energy, and it, it's a slow burn. So we're moving through it for sure, but we're taking steps, to improve things. So it's good.
Yeah, things are happening.
Things are happening behind the scenes for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. But yeah, no, listen, it's been a good holiday. I mean, it's, it's been nice. We have certainly enjoyed spending time with family. But it's funny, to your point. My wife says to me, like yesterday, and her parents are here right now, right? So she says to me, she goes, they're leaving today meaning Saturday, right? So we have Sunday still. And my wife goes, I want to do nothing on Sunday, nothing at all, like literally nothing. And I'm like, I'm with you. Like, we need a break. Like, let's just do nothing. We don't have to interact with anybody else. We could just kind of relax, and be ready for work.
Yeah. I've said this to my wife too, is in past years, we used to do, so we don't do as much with extended family anymore. Just because I have so much extended family that like I could literally be at a party every day over Christmas. Like, for like 10 days straight, I could be at somebody's house for some reason, but we had to cut back on that, because it's too much. Right.
Yeah, it is.
And the funny thing too is, I remember past years where like, you're talking about like, oh, I'm going to be rested and go back to work. There was times where I got back to work and it was like, I'm actually more tired than when I left before. Like, I feel worse than when I left for Christmas. So
that's how I'm going to feel.
I get you on that. Like, try and rest as much as you can.
For sure. I'm definitely trying to do that. So yeah, no, but like I said, it's been good. It's been, I mean, even though like you said, his family's here and it's exhausting doing all the cooking and everything. Most of it's been kind of chill. We've just been hanging out and, spending time with each other, which is a good thing. And I hope everybody out there did that. I saw in the Discord, it seems like everybody's families were getting sick and having, the flu flow through their house. And, I consider myself very lucky that my daughter got strep, because strep is easily fixable with some antibiotics. And she actually 2 days before Christmas got strep, and which is, always seems to happen. But the nice thing was, because of strep, you take some antibiotics and you're good within 48 hours. You're not contagious anymore. So I immediately, at the first sign of strep, because it's not my first rodeo, I knew that she probably had strep. And so we went to urgent care and I said to the doctor, I'm like, I bet she has strep. And they go and they give it a test.
They do a throat swab and they're like, yep.
She comes back and she goes, that turned positive real fast. And I'm like, yeah, I told you that. She's like, you were right on the money. I was like, yeah, I've been here before. We're like,
you are that parent now. I was the same way, where it was like, you see certain things happening. You're like, I know what this is. This is like the fourth time I've been through it. So
yeah. Cause I mean, she had strep like 3 times in a row last year. Like, I mean, like it kept happening. Right. So it's like, and I know my daughter, there's nothing that's going to stop her from eating cereal in the morning. And, we woke up and she was like, my throat hurts and I'm not hungry. And I'm like, oh, strep, let's go. Yep. Let's go right now. You have strep. And sure enough, she did. And, she was never even really sick, to be totally honest. Her throat got a little scratchy, and then she, we took antibiotics immediately and was never actually sick. Right.
Yeah. Cause you probably got it close enough to the start that it didn't get a chance to really develop.
Yeah, she was fine. Totally fine.
Funny enough, so right before we went on holidays, at work, I work at I'm an IT consultant. I'm sure I've told people
you mentioned this before, but I think so. Yeah.
But so I have different clients that I go to, and at 2 different client sites, there was people that were calling in sick because of flu and stuff like that. And so the week before Christmas, I was like, you know what? I'm going to work from home this week. Like I just, politely said cause usually I would go in because they're usually doing stuff everybody has their before Christmas, oh, hey, let's do a last get together or whatnot. And I was like, you know what? I'm good right now. Which,
I get that. Yeah.
Which I'm glad that I did because we were thankfully on the flip side of it. We didn't have anybody sick in our house, which was nice because for years, it leading up to Christmas, it was always somebody in the house would get sick. Either I would or my son or my wife. And it was there was always that are they going to be better by you don't want to be sick on Christmas morning kind of thing. Right. So
that's why I took my daughter right to urgent care. So I'm like, let's get this knocked out before Christmas. I don't want you to be, because she was sick on Christmas last year. It always seems to happen 2 days before Christmas. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's like that. It's that delay of they finish up school and then it's whatever they come in contact with, it shows up a couple of days later, right? So
exactly. So but that was the holidays, though. I mean, we also to bring it back to the topic of the podcast.
Yeah, let's. I was going to ask, was there anything Disney related in your holidays? Because I didn't have a lot of Disney related stuff, which I think is okay, but
no, not really. Really, just that we were talking about our vacation plans for next year because we still haven't really figured out what we're doing this year. And really, I do think though, so I mean, I was talking to my in-laws because they're here. I think we're doing an Alaska cruise in 27, a Disney cruise line, Alaskan cruise.
Yeah.
Which should be really cool. I'm pretty sure we're doing it. So I think that's happening with her whole family and such. So that should be a lot of fun. But this year it's we still have no plans whatsoever, right? So I was over the weekend it wasn't even the weekend. I've kind of lost track of time, when you're off from work and the holidays, I'm like, what day of the week is it? I don't know, but I was looking at DVC availability because my wife was saying, why don't we go to the beach? Why don't we do Vero Beach? Right. And I was like, okay, we can do the beach, but I don't really love the beach. I'm not gonna lie. I know I'm kind of an anomaly on this. I don't know the beach. I like the waves. I like listening to the ocean. I like looking at the ocean. I don't like sand. I don't like going in the ocean.
The sand gets everywhere.
Oh, you can never get rid of sand ever. And you'll find sand forever after you go to the beach. And I don't know. I just don't like that. So
I was making a Star Wars reference too in that. But
what was the Star Wars? What would I miss there?
I think it's episode 1 or episode 2, or no, it was episode 2 where Anakin says, "I hate the sand. It's rough. It's rough and it gets everywhere." Something like.
Never saw that one, but I agree with Anakin.
Yeah. So but you're not mention it because if I didn't, somebody's going to come back in the Discord later and be like, "Trevor did it again."
Yeah. So so my wife's like, let's do Vero Beach for a week. And I'm like, a week's too long at the beach. We're going to get bored after 3 days. I just know my family. I just think, I know my wife could spend a week there, but my daughter's probably going to get bored pretty quickly. She'll enjoy some time at the beach and all that. But so now what we were thinking, Vero is an hour and a half from Port Canaveral. So I was like, well, why don't we do a short beach day, we do a couple days at Vero, and then we do a shorter cruise, maybe a 5 or 6 day cruise, because we really want to do another cruise. So I think that might be what we're gonna do. We're not 100% on it yet because we're kind of waiting for more deals and stuff to come out on you can get good deals on all the Disney cruises for, in the first quarter here, from January to March, but we're looking more in the July June timeframe, try to get as close to when my daughter's done with school as possible, because we don't want her missing any school, so we're going to try to avoid that. And so we want to kind of but we also don't want to be in the super busy time either, right? So we're thinking maybe the week when after she's done with school, we go. right? Which is like June. So, but there's no like real like deals out there right now for that, right? I think we're going to wait. And I think we're going to do this might be the first time we've ever done a vacation with another family. We usually just don't do that, but my wife is very close with has a close friend and my daughter's really has grown up with their daughter and son, so they're really close and everything, so I think we might do that. But yeah, I was just Vero Beach is a blind spot for me, Trevor, because I've never stayed there, right? So like I'm looking at all the room categories and I'm looking at all this different stuff about Vero Beach, and it's like I feel like I should know all this stuff, but I don't.
Yeah, it's from what I understand. Yeah, Vero Beach is definitely like it's not. It's a Disney resort, but I feel like you have to approach it the same as like going to sorry, someone's gonna get mad at me for saying this, but the same as like going to Alani in that it is a self-contained resort, and I know there is stuff around Vero Beach. I know we've talked about this before, that like you can choose to, like, you don't have to stay just at Vero. You can like go out to, the surrounding,
surrounding areas,
surrounding areas and look for stuff. But again, the problem with that is then it becomes like, how much time are you spending like explore, like look, like trying to figure out like what's good and what's not there, because it's not like outside of Vero Beach itself, like everything else is just like, random tourist stuff. You don't know what's good and what's bad. So I get that. That's fair.
It's looking like there's not going to be a park trip though this year. I mean, there might be. We don't plan well ahead of time. I'm not going to lie. Mm-hmm. We're really bad at planning these things. So, I mean, as of right now, there's no park trip in the cards, but that doesn't mean there won't be. My daughter has said she'd like to take a break because we haven't done a week in since last year, but we did go a couple times this year, and she just wants to do other things, which I understand, and I'm not I don't have an issue with it, but I think that's the benefit of DVC though too, is that I can do Vero Beach, I can do Hilton Head, I can do Alani, I can do there's other and all the other places that are in the
then there's
network.
Interval and all that as well. Yeah,
exactly. So like I can still use my DVC while also trying to do some different things, and I think she really wants to do the cruise again too. We really want to do the cruise again too. We had a blast on the cruise. So we definitely want to do that. We just have to, we want to find a time where the price is right, so to speak, because the Disney cruises are very expensive, and it's
yes,
we want to try to find one that is reasonable, let's say. So because the last one we took was pretty pricey, but we were looking for one that's a little bit cheaper. Not like, I'm not going to get cheap. I understand that, and that's fine. But they do a lot of discounts on these, especially for ones they're trying to fill, and so we'll keep an eye out for that. But yeah, so we were kind of doing a little bit of vacation planning and trying to kind of work through maybe what we'll do this year. But it's still pretty up in the air. But it looks like we're going to do it with another family, so that should be fun.
Well, that's good. I think we talked about this a little while ago, that for us as well, like this year is looking most likely like we're not doing a park trip either, and because of the fact that we decided that we're going to bank our points and put them into 2027, because we're going to do a bigger trip for our 25th wedding anniversary. The other funny thing too is similar to kind of the same thing as you is, our son is in school, and, we're trying to just, there's a heavy focus on getting through school.
Of course.
And the nice thing, like you said, about DVC is that it's like, I'm looking at it and going, oh, we can, we can bank our points. We can hold off for a year until we see, what's coming up next. And like, even our plans are like, me, like, we're usually the ones that are like 11 months out. We have our stuff booked and planned and all that kind of stuff.
You're way better planners than we are.
Yeah. But also, the interesting thing for us is that, we're kind of waiting to see how things shake out with like my son's post-secondary schooling and all that stuff too. So it's like, we're kind of in a similar boat where like, we're going to take our trip. Absolutely. Like, my wife and I have this trip planned. Whether or not our son comes with us, that's up for debate, because, he'll be, he can make that decision himself. But then also like we had talked about, that we wanted to spend a couple of days in a bungalow, and we also wanted to invite you guys. So kind of similar as, we were like, hey, we're gonna travel with another family, which happens to be you. But for us, that's a bit of a blind spot as well, because we don't, or all of our trips previously have been, it's been, just our family. Although my parents have been with us a couple of times, but I feel like parents with you on a Disney trip is like,
yeah, that's different.
Yeah, it's different because it's like they're just kind of going with the flow, and they're like, they're there because they want to be with their grandkids, and they don't have the same dynamics as like dealing with another family, because like I get it, is that it's like every family does things differently. And then on top of that, everybody does Disney differently.
Yeah.
So it's like, you have different priorities, you have different things you want to do, which I feel like with Disney that, or I guess my take on it is that if I was to travel to Disney with another family, there has to be, first of all, a ground rule of like, you can't be together 24/7.
Oh
like
yeah.
If you try and do like, oh yeah, we're going to like, we're going to go to this park this day, this park this day. It's like, no, like that you can't tell other people, or I can't imagine getting that many people to agree on like, we're all going to this park at this time and we're doing this or whatever, because just more people, more personalities. It seems like a bad formula for becoming that scene that we've all seen in the park where there's like a meltdown happening. And it's like, I don't want to, I don't want to contribute to that, is my thing. So it's like, it's kind of a weird thing, right? Like it's very weird to think about like, I'm excited to travel and to like, experience it with other people, but then it's like, it hits a point where it's like, okay, well, I'll see you later. Right.
later. You go do your own thing. Yeah. And we've done it with family before, right? Like we've done it, but like you said, family's different, right? Like, cause I know my family's idiosyncrasies, right? Like I know things that are going like, and we also agree to like, to your point ahead of time, is you kind of just do what you're going to do. Like if somebody wants to do something different, we have to be okay with splitting up, or else you're going to have conflict. And I don't know how to really manage that with another family, but I mean, I guess we're going to figure it out. So we're going to see what happens. Right.
You need to have the Disney rule book.
Well, I mean, we do often have people that just defer to us too. Like when, it's like, well, you guys do, you figure it out because you guys know what you're doing. Right. Yeah. So like, I don't know, who knows how that's going to shake out, but it's certainly a possibility. But
I'm now envisioning like a nicely bound book that says like the
Disney rules,
the Disney family traveling rule book. Like, thou shalt not eat a turkey leg in front of other people.
Sounds like a shirt we need to make, Trevor.
That might be a thing. I'm not sure now. I need to go open a Google Doc and start writing here.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So anyway, listen, there's not a lot of news going on this week. I mean, I will say,
as we've talked for like 30 minutes, we haven't even actually gotten to the rundown yet.
Catch up. Yeah, I mean, listen, there's not a lot of news. It's we're talking about Disney stuff too. So but yeah, I mean, what was I going to say about Disney Cruise Line? I can't remember now. There was a thing I was going to say. I can't remember. Okay. Well, I mean, it kind of segs into the first thing I had in here that I thought was kind of cool, was that guests sailing on the first month of the inaugural Disney Adventure Voyages will receive a physical copy of a special edition first issue of Amazing Adventures, which is a ship exclusive comic book that's being done by Marvel, which I think is very cool.
Now, it is cool. My only question is, how quickly are you going to see this on eBay?
Oh, immediately. Immediately, especially since the adventure is exclusive to Singapore, right? Like there's going to be a lot of American fans that want this, right? That can't get to Singapore, right?
Yeah, that I forgot about that. I was like, oh yeah, people are going to get it and sell it, but yeah, it's going to be international, which makes it even worse. Ooh, yeah.
It's going to be a pricey one, right?
Yeah.
If you want to get that one.
Yeah.
I also thought I did. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
It's cool though that they're like actually getting like, they don't have to spend that kind of energy to do a comic for a cruise ship. I'm kind of glad that they are, because I feel like this is something too that, when I was a kid, if I had gotten like, I wouldn't have known the difference between comic books were just like comic books, right? Like I went to like, there was like a used bookstore that had comic books nearby when I was a kid, and I would just go in there and grab all kinds of random stuff. I didn't know rarity. I didn't know like, any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. When you're a kid, you don't know that, like, especially like toys and stuff like that too. It's like, you just rip the toy out of the box, however you can get it out. You don't care about saving it,
Yeah. And the thing I like is that, I appreciate the fact that they're doing this. And, I hope that it's, some kid somewhere is going to be, just enjoying this comic book about, a cruise that they went on. Like that to me is more important than like I said, we're commenting on like the people eBaying this stuff and collecting and all that because it's a limited edition thing. But it's like comic books should also be for enjoyment.
Yeah,
is my take. Yeah.
I 100% agree with that. It's funny because when I saw this was the adventure, I assumed it was the Destiny. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm like, the Destiny's all about like superheroes and villains and stuff. Like, why wouldn't they have a comic book for that? But I'm pretty sure they did, or do, I should say. I think they did this for the Destiny as well. I have to look, but I don't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't remember either. But yeah, I'll wait to see what this what the price of these comics looks like.
On eBay? Yeah.
But I want to get one. But I'm curious. I'm legitimately curious though what it's going to
what it's going to be to get going for on eBay for a free thing.
Yeah, because which is, I know that's silly, but yeah.
I mean, listen, it is cool. Don't get me wrong. Like I if you go on like the treasure or I think it's, I don't remember if it's on the Wish or not, but it's because I'm not a DCL expert, so don't kill me here. I've only been on the treasure, but the treasure, they had the Worlds of Marvel restaurant, right, that we went to, and they had a whole like Marvel show, with that. Right. So like, I mean, I think if there was also a comic book that I could get, that'd be pretty cool too. I just think it's kind of neat. And I like this integration of Marvel with the cruise lines. I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah. Okay. See, I don't think there's much else we can say about that.
I'm laughing next thing, because Tom, of what I put on here.
Yeah. So this feels very targeted.
Oh, what? No. Why would I target a thing to you, Trevor?
Okay. So Tom linked a ear headband that is available in Epcot. And the title of it is Poutine is My Routine. And it is the most Canadian looking set of ears ever.
It's got Chip and Dale on it with Poutine.
Yeah. And yeah, they're like laying in poutine, and it's got the it's got like the flannel with the Canadian. Yeah. There's a little Canadian maple leafs on it. Yeah.
Listen, I saw this and I had to put it on here just to get a reaction from you, because I was curious to see how you felt about this, because I think I love this. I think it looks awesome, but I wasn't sure how you were going to feel about it.
I don't like that flannel is associated with Canadian stuff.
But to be fair, though, I think it's more for the Epcot version of Canada. It fits very in with the Epcot version of Canada, right?
It does, yeah. And I just noticed that on Poutine on the. Or actually, yeah, I don't even know why they have a little the little maple leaf above it. I thought it was above the eye, but I realized the eye is actually after. Or it's
you think they would have dotted the eye with the maple leaf, but they didn't.
Yeah, it probably didn't fit the font. But,
they do also have, by the way, it's not just the ears. They also have a shirt that says "Only here for Poutine."
Only here for Poutine. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's also some Chip and Dale stuff too. But and it looks like I don't know what this other thing is. It's almost looks like a towel or something.
A towel or probably a dish towel, if I had to guess.
Yeah, it says poutine is my routine. And this one says fries, cheese curds, and gravy. It actually lists out the ingredients on there. So, hey, at least I got the ingredients right. So
I will say this actually, I did enjoy some poutine over Christmas break. So this is something we figured out. It was either last year or the year before. So we do a roast chicken for dinner on Christmas Day because there's not enough of us to do a turkey and all that. So we do roast chicken, but then usually when we're done with the chicken, we have a whole bunch of gravy left over because my wife makes like amazing gravy and we have a lot of it. So we bought a couple of bags of cheese curds and we bought just like frozen French fries. Yeah. And so what we did was after we were sick of like we had a couple of days of like the regular leftover stuff, like with the potatoes and vegetables and all that kind of stuff. We still had enough chicken and everything left over that I made. It was just roast chicken in the poutine. Ooh. But it was, and that got us like, that got us like another 3 days past Christmas. But yeah, it's such a good comfort food. Like I was like, it's one of the best things, like when it is cold out, to just have like a warm bowl of poutine. So
I agree with you. And over Christmas, it was funny because I decided a while ago that I wanted to make loaded potato soup for Christmas. Mm-hmm. And so because I love a good like hearty soup when it's cold out. And then it ended up being like 75 degrees here on Christmas. It was like so warm, and I was just whatever.
You need to plan a Christmas trip up here because if you want like the proper Christmas treatment, like it was cold up here. Like we've had a couple of swings. Like it's been up around 0, so like 0 would be warmer weather relatively for us, but then it also swung down to like -20. But we had all the snow and everything, which, if you're wanting that, like, reason to have a big bowl of soup or whatever.
I love soup.
You should come up here. You would really like Banff.
Listen, I was thinking about it after the Alaska cruise. Maybe we, I mean, I think the Alaska cruise goes out of Vancouver. We could, maybe hop on over to see you guys. Yeah, I don't know.
There's a train that runs through BC that I can't remember where it stops.
Awesome. I want to do that then.
I can't remember. I have a friend who did it this last year, and I can't remember which one they did. But there's like I think it's like a 2 or 3 day train. So like you're on a train and you have like your own like a sleeper train, and they have like the glass top on one of the cars, so like you can see. So like you can look out and see like the mountains and everything as you're going. So,
okay, I want to do that. I'm going to plan that. That's happening.
Yeah, I'll find out what the name of it was for you. I can't remember. I think it was Rocky Mountain Train or something like that.
Well, now that I've given you a hard time about poutine, why don't we go ahead and do our ad, and then there's a couple more things to talk about, and we can get out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
And then hopefully there's more news soon here.
I'm actually glad that you did put that on there because I did forget about the fact that I did have poutine over Christmas. So yeah,
good.
So it had a benefit.
All right, good. The sponsor of this episode is DVC Resale Market. DVC Resale Market, a World of DVC company, is the leader in the DVC resale industry with 13 former Disney Vacation Club guides and 3 former Disney Vacation Club quality assurance managers. If you're thinking of buying DVC, browse the largest selection of DVC resale listings anywhere, with DVC experts on hand 7 days a week to answer your questions. If you're thinking of selling, turn to the friendly professionals at DVC Resale Market, where over 98% of listings sell within 30 days. In 2024, DVC Resale Market helped over 4,400 families join or add on to their memberships. Go to dvcresalemarket.com/welcome home or call 1-844-DVC-PROS. That's 1-844-382-7767. And when you speak to them, be sure to let them know that Welcome Home sent you. All right. So,
okay, what else do we got?
Not much, honestly.
That's, I mean, it's fair because it's been
it's holidays, right?
Yeah.
Well, so Walt Disney Imagineering is giving us some looks at the refurb of, or I guess reimagining, let's say, of Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spit, right?
Yeah.
And part of that is that there is a new beginning of the ride, which has this new character called Buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Which Buddy is going to serve as kind of the like the pregame in Toy Story Midway Mania, where you do like some target shooting and practice and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we've got here. By the way, I mentioned this on the Discord, right? That if you look at the concept art, there is a little homage, I believe, to the previous to the previous tenet of Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin, which is if you had wings. Which, so if you look at the bottom of the robot, the concept art, it says
IYHW.
Yeah, it says IY-HW3. So I was thinking, so it has to be if you had wings, right?
Yeah.
And then the 3, this is the third iteration of something that's in this spot. So Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin is. So that's what I'm assuming the 3 stands for, but I could be wrong. Someone else maybe has an idea of the significance there. But I can't tell you how much I love when they do stuff like that most people are not going to notice. But if you do notice, it's kind of great, right? Like,
Yeah, that's what makes it fun is like, there's the upfront experience, but then the reasons to go back and rewrite are for all the little details and stuff that you missed the first, 5th, or 10th time. Because like, honestly, that, the fact that you pointed that out, like I've looked at this concept art before and I didn't even like, I should have clocked that, because usually it's like, oh, what is that, serial code? Or because they always do that. They always do like, they'll put something somewhere in a ride and it always has a reference. And I always, for some reason, I always blank on like the initial, like, oh, that's cool. But then it's like, wait a minute, what does that actually mean?
Yeah, exactly. 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 Yeah. And they always do it too. Like they always do some sort of homage to it. And listen, they don't really need to do that here, because this is, it's not a new ride. They're just, replacing some things, right? But the fact that they created a new character and then decided to put that reference in there, I love it. It makes me happy.
I really hope that so they're really pushing to that it's kind of odd that that they're bringing in a new character, which is obviously they're deliberately doing this as it's specific to the ride, right? Because I don't know that Buddy is going to show up anywhere outside of the ride. It might be in the next Toy Story movie. You might see a reference to Buddy or something like that.
Yeah.
But the way they describe it is a support bot character with youthful kid energy, which I'm trying to imagine what that looks like, because normally like bots are not like
there's something about, they have a couple bots like that, right? That are like fun and silly and weird. Like what's his face from Star Tours, right? He what was that? Why am I forgetting?
Rex.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. I the hard part about Rex is that all I can hear is Pee Wee Herman, because he's voiced by Paul Rubens. So
yeah, that's a fair point.
but no, yeah, you're right. I guess it's weird that now you mention is that like I always like when I immediately hear of like a robot, you immediately think of like the like Commander Data on Star Wars, or not Star Wars, Star Trek, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, you think about like emotionless and whatever, but I guess, valid point. Robots don't have to be, they can be whatever they want to be. They don't like, they can have personality to them, but I'm curious like how this one is going to heighten the ride, right? Because like Buzz Lightyear didn't, or like Buzz was originally in the spot, wasn't he? Like, cause this was,
no. I guess it is the same spot, right? Where they're going to, I guess they haven't really said where it is, but it looks like it's there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, it's interesting, like replacing like a, what was kind of like the flagship character of the ride.
He'll still be in the queue though. He'll still be in the queue.
Yeah. Like, because, it isn't labeled Buzz Lightyear's, but now like, I'm wondering if Buddy is going to kind of steal the show.
Maybe
is the thing, like, which I'm honestly kind of glad if that is the case, because I always enjoy that when they they find a means of like, there's like the main story or the main like characters, but having like a side character that kind of shines more than the main character is always enjoyable to see. Like for the same thing, like my wife loves from Muppet Vision, Bean Bunny.
Oh, who doesn't love Bean Bunny? Yeah.
Yeah. But like originally, like he wasn't, you go to Muppets, like assuming like Kermit and Miss Piggy and Gonzo and all that. Bean kind of came in as like a secondary character that kind of took it over. I mean, I know he's like focal to the storyline in Muppets and Muppet Vision, but I don't think he originally started as that. Or I'd have to go back and look, because I'm pretty sure like he showed up in some of the other Muppet shows before that, and that was kind of like later on after he became popular, right?
Yeah. I don't know what his first appearance was, but he's definitely, he's been around. But yeah, listen. So by the way, the one video I linked here actually does point out the Easter egg. So it is definitely. I didn't watch the whole video, but they point out in the Easter egg for If You Had Wings. So that's definitely confirmed there. I mentioned this, I don't know, a couple weeks ago in the Discord that I noticed it, and so it's good that they're confirming that, because I just assumed that's what it was. And I mean, what else could it be? Honestly, it just matches too perfectly. So, but this is good. I think it's good though too to have like this little practice thing so that people know what they're doing, especially since they're changing the guns. The guns are different now. They auto fire, and you're actually able to see. I mean, I think everyone's biggest complaint about Buzz Lightyear for the longest time is he never knew where you were shooting. You were just kind of like firing blindly.
Trying to calibrate your red dot was difficult because
half the time the red dot didn't work.
Or there was 5 people shooting at the same spot, so you couldn't tell which dot was yours.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I'm hopeful that they're also, and I don't know why they have not done this in Toy Story yet, and it kind of drives me nuts that they don't. They had, a long time ago, they had kind of really put out there this, like, the whole thing with the magic bands, where they were, if you had a magic band plus, they were going to be able to read your name off of it and put your, personalize things in queues and in rides. For a while they were doing the thing at the end of Small World where they, had the names, you had people's names up there, which, this last time I was on it, they weren't doing anymore. In fact, I don't even think the screens were, I think they were just either gone or I don't know. But anyway, I always felt like in Toy Story Midway Mania that they should have, at the end, when they do the high scores, they should have your name next to it. Why not?
Yeah.
Right? Like, put your name next to it. Right? They should do this here too. Like, they should absolutely be able to read your name and be able to put that somewhere at the end and like list the scores. People would love that. People would absolutely love if you did that.
So here's actually a little bit of food for thought on that too, is, the original structure of the point system in Buzz Lightyear was, you had the different rankings, right? Like, you get to the end, you take your score and, all the way up to Galactic Hero, which was, if you got the max score. I'm wondering if the new system will keep that same structure in place, because
I feel like they have to.
Because the interesting thing about that is, your point about like having the names and everything, if they have like a leaderboard or something, you're going to have just a bunch of people like, it'll just be a bunch of galactic heroes, because there's people that know how to do it. And so like the leaderboard will just always be, galactic heroes throughout the day.
I have to assume that all of the tricks to get galactic hero are going to be, are not going to be the same anymore. Right.
True.
I feel like, I feel like that's gone. Right. Like, if you want to get galactic hero now, you're going to have to, you got to figure out the new secrets, right?
It's a new, that is actually a good point. Yeah. I'm sure they've redone
that
enough
whole point
of the ride. Yeah.
Like, that whole thing is probably redone. I don't even need like a daily leaderboard. I just want, like, as I'm passing by the board, maybe show my score against everybody else that's on the ride right now, or show my score against,
like how they did on Toy Story, where like you could have like cart or, car best and daily best. And
exactly. Exactly. Like, I think that would be kind of neat, and I think people would like that. And I mean, listen, part of what they're doing too is we're not going to have the old, digital clock displays for the score anymore. They're going to have actual screens in there, much like Toy Story Mania, and you'll actually be able to see your scores and all that, which I think is great. People love this, the gamified piece of these, and I think all of us that have done Toy Story Mania before, you get competitive with your friends and family members, like that's part of the fun. Right. And so they're actually going to make this feel more, the thing with Buzz, you could do that. But at the same time, if you got like, a gun that didn't work, then you're not going to win, like that
could happen with the new one too. Like,
it could,
we don't know.
It could.
We don't know how long the guns are going to last either.
Let's hope a long time. But yeah. So I like that they're giving this little preview. I like this little new character. I think it's a fun thing, and yeah. So anything else on that one, Trevor?
No, I'm curious to see where or what else comes of it, because this is one of my wife's favorite rides. So I do love this ride. I'll be excited to see when it actually is finished.
I agree 100%. So all right. Here we go, Trevor.
Reckless speculation. Reckless speculation. Reckless speculation. Speculation. It's so reckless. It's so much speculation. Speculation. We may be wrong. We may be right. But it doesn't matter because it's reckless speculation.
I honestly completely forgot that you had done that.
Well, because we only played it like once, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
I was like, wait, what? Oh, right.
How about the reckless speculation song? Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So we got some speculation here, especially this is we got speculation because there's not a whole lot of news going on, so we got to speculate about things, right? So
okay, this first one is so it sounds scary, but I actually don't think it's as bad as it sounds. So the title is Walt Disney Imagineering files permit for set elements at Haunted Mansion, which means something's changing at the Haunted Mansion.
I mean, I always read set elements as maybe like enhancements, right? Like new things, right?
Yeah. But sometimes that could mean taking stuff out too, which is like it does, sometimes they will reno stuff, and when the like you said, they add stuff, but sometimes they take away stuff that people may have liked, and there's always conflict around that kind of stuff. But specific to this though,
the permit is to install set elements though.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's for a company that does set elements for them, and it's to install set elements. And this company does a lot of like the fabrication for Disney, and does a lot of the set things. So right now they're working on the dinosaur, the change into Indiana Jones and Rock and Roller Coaster too. So like this is the stuff that they do. The article notes that a permit from Imagineering usually means more thematic updates rather than standard maintenance. So, but Disney's not said anything about this. So the question is, Trevor, what do we think is happening here?
I have an initial obvious thought about this.
Okay.
I don't think it's anything internal to the ride.
Okay.
So
you mean like outside stuff is what you're saying?
Well, yeah. So here's the thing: is that the queue for Haunted Mansion right now looks over into Rivers of America, right? Yeah. And that's, as we know, that's all been drained and is being converted into the new Cars Land.
And they got some big old walls there right now that you can't see any of it. So
but the northeast side of the queue, and yes, sorry, I'm doing this by cardinal directions because I know how Magic Kingdom is laid out, and so the northeast side of the queue, which is like as you're coming up towards where like it's the start of all the interactive elements in Magic Kingdom. So like you can see like it's the whole or no, sorry, is that northeast? Maybe I got that backwards. Maybe it's northwest. Dang it. Yeah. So on that side, actually, yeah, it is. It is northeast. So you have like the whole view onto the rivers, but then like as you come around the corner where there's like the tombs and everything that you interact with, they have to be doing some kind of construction there. And I guess my question is if they're revising the, that whole area, because, I assume there's going to be walkways or there's going to be something there. Is it possible that the queue itself is maybe getting a bit of a redesign in how you get into the Haunted Mansion? And then further to that is, if they extend the queue, does that mean that there's going to be more interactive elements in the queue?
That's a really interesting. That's kind of where my mind went as well, Trevor, with the queue, because they just redid the queue of the Disneyland Haunted Mansion, right? Yeah, and they just, they redid that entire queue. Now, to your point, because of all this construction going on, which by the way, I saw some pictures from the bioreconstruct that does all the overhead pictures. I had no idea how much progress they had made backstage on like land clearing, like and also on how much they've done in the middle of the park too. With Tom Sawyer Island's totally gone; it's a pile of dirt now, and it's like they're starting to level everything out. But like all that area where Villains Land is going to be is all leveled out already. And I mean, which I was shocked by, because I feel like the last time I saw pictures, they were not that far along, but they are moving quickly here. But yeah, to your point, Trevor, like I kind of agree with you that at some point maybe they're going to redo this queue and have it go in a different direction, but and maybe kind of update some of the themes to it. I think that's a good call. I don't know if I have a different idea there, because I don't know what else they would be doing.
Because here's the thing to think about. Like I know that this is like installing theme stuff, or installing set elements is the speculation, or it's the permit that's filed on what we're speculating on. But I feel like queue expansion is set elements still, right?
It is still,
and especially because of the fact that every queue now in some way, shape, or form has something interactive, because like even if you look at like the front part of the queue into Haunted Mansion, it's just a bunch of switchbacks before you actually get up to the north side of the queue. And sorry, it's northwest. I always have it backwards in my head when I'm looking at the map. I don't know why. East and west are confusing. But yeah, so when you get up towards the north end of the queue, like that's where the interactive elements start. And I guess my thinking there is that, yes, there is always going to have to be some sort of room for like overflow queue of some sort, right? Where you just have like switchbacks, and everybody hates that. But I will say this is that, I'm looking at this also because I went to Epic Universe last year and thinking like, both Disney and Epic Universe, or Disney and Universal, they do contract a lot of the same people, and they do have a lot of like similar thought processes.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about the DK roller, or the Donkey Kong roller coaster in Epic Universe, because we got in the queue for that. And while it wasn't, the entire queue, or actually, sorry, it was throughout pretty much the entire queue, is that they had, so we had bought they have their version of the Magic Band there, but it's exclusive to the Super Nintendo World area. So it throughout the queue, there was actually touch points that you could scan that did different things. And I was just thinking about like, they had it through the entire queue. Like there wasn't.
Yeah, Disney did a little bit of that. They just, with like the statues and some of the other stuff, like they were doing with just Magic Man Plus, but they not as they didn't go as far.
Yeah, it stops at a certain point, right? Like it is, and that's what I mean, is that it's like, maybe Disney is looking at this as an opportunity for, hey, we can, we don't have to just do like blank queue with nothing going on. You can have it, there's lots of opportunity to have, means of entertaining people through the entire queue. And then also thinking back to, Haunted Mansion, I've seen the queue go all the way past the entrance to the Liberty Bell.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Because, when it gets really busy, it extends out past the entrance, and it just runs all along that path right along the riverfront, right?
Yeah.
So maybe the thing is, if they are redoing this whole area, they may have freed up some space for themselves, that, it's not just building a bunch of new stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if the Haunted Mansion queue gets some expansion to it, because it is a high capacity ride. It is a high, there's a high throughput. There's always lots of people lining up for it. So why not have more queue elements to it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, because honestly, I will say this too, is that I feel like when you do finally get up to the spot where there is the interactive stuff, you're so close to the front of the line that it does kind of move faster when you get closer to the front.
It does,
because they're letting people in and all that. So you don't really get a chance to like actually stop and like interact with a lot of things. I feel like having those things further back in the queue actually makes more sense, because you're you don't, it's a weird thing. Like you don't move as fast, right? Like you kind of, there's more stopping and starting.
You have this problem
right?
with Peter Pan now, and also with Seven Dwarfs, right? Where you run into a thing where there's all these interactive things that you can do in the queue. And it's like, you also run into an etiquette thing. It's like, okay, well, if they're playing with queue elements, does that mean I can pass them in line? Like,
I think it's valid.
I think it is
100%.
Too,
right? Like if you stop to play with the thing in the queue, like, whatever it is, if it's the screen or, the gems or whatever, fine. I'm going to walk right past you.
Yeah.
But it goes both ways is, when that person's done playing with the queue, they just merge back into the line. Like it shouldn't be an issue. Like if you're already in the line, like, you can just merge back in at whatever point, but you're not holding people up. And, if I want to spend 5 minutes messing around with, whatever interactive elements are in the queue, you should be able to do that. But like I said, Haunted Mansion, thinking specifically about theirs, it feels like it always feels very rushed when you get up to that part. Right. Like because it's, it's a bunch of switchbacks and it's like right to the front of the ride. And it never feels like you have enough time to like, you're kind of like walking by and I've watched this, like I've done this too. And I've watched other people do this where it's like, you're kind of walking by and you're just like quickly poking things because you don't
touching things,
because you don't have time to like actually stop and look at it. Yeah. Right. Like it's just how they designed it. I wouldn't be surprised if they're rethinking that. And I'm wondering if it would actually change, like feasibly, they could redesign all the way up to where the entrance of the ride is, which we remember the queue how it is now. There's nothing saying that the queue as we know it now could not be moved and restructured as part of this larger renovation that's going on.
Yeah, they could push it out into that newly cleared spot right next to it where it used to be water, right? Like they could just push it out there, take a little bit of that space up.
And then the entrance to Haunted Mansion is not just right outside of Liberty Tree. It's like like if you think about it, it could be actually further up north, like up where the interactive stuff is now, and they could change how the whole queue moves to get to the entrance.
That queue does need more space. It just does.
It does. Yeah.
Does. So all right. I think that's some good reckless speculating.
That's fun. I like that. That's a good call out on that one.
Yeah, I like that one. The next one we have is this one is really hardcore speculation because this is based off of almost nothing. Mm-hmm. And the headline of this is new Disney theme park could be built in Thailand. Now, if you look at the actual, if you look at what is actually said here, like Thailand has come up with like a little plan for economic development, and they said they believe that attractions like a Disneyland level theme park would make the case for investments more compelling. Okay. But that's just them being wishful thinking and hoping that they could get something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
there are a lot of Asian companies that have done Disney-like theme parks. Like it's people have tried to emulate Disney theme parks.
Well, and listen, given it's the way that the other Asian parks came about, except for Shanghai, right, is that someone came to Disney and said, I want to do this. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's funny because if you watch the Imagineering story, was it Hong Kong was I guess it was the first one, right? So that they did in Asia, and they're telling the story of this where the guy that that basically developed it all there kept calling the CEO of Disney and saying, I want to build a park here, I want to build a park here, and he was annoying the CEO of Disney so much that he said, all right, well, tell him we'll build a park, but he has to pay for everything and we get half or something like that, right? And like thinking that he would never say yes to it, right? Because it's a ridiculous thing to say. And then
they were like,
yes,
cool.
Yeah. And so he says yes to it. So like, it's not out of the realm of possibility that, some super rich person in Thailand could come to Disney and be like, I want to do this here. I mean, but it just, I don't know. It just feels like wishful thinking more than anything.
Yeah. So, and I had to look this up. So that there was, so to the point of like, just because they said a Disneyland like park, there was a place called Nara Dreamland.
Oh, I remember Nara Dreamland,
which it's since it was in Japan and it's gone now, but it was it was very deliberately like
it was a ripoff. It was straight up ripoff.
Yeah. It was Disneyland, but not.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's funny, like when you look at it, like they were literally like doing a copy paste of Disneyland in a lot of areas of it. So, so to that point, in Thailand, there's nothing saying that somebody couldn't do something like that there, right?
Yeah,
where they're not going to get in trouble for doing that kind of blatant ripoff, because like the funny thing is that the like they even had like in Nara Dreamland, they had the castle, like it looked like Sleeping Beauty's castle, but it was clearly not. Like it was missing a lot of details and stuff, but it's far enough change that copyright laws and stuff don't extend across the world necessarily. So it's like, if suddenly you heard about a Disneyland like park popping up in Thailand, I wouldn't be surprised. And there may already be stuff like that there that we don't even know about. And it's funny though, that as soon as you put like Disney on it somewhere, that it's like, you were like, oh, Disney's opening a new park. It's like,
no. Probably not. I mean, maybe, but probably not.
Don't hold your breath on that one.
I don't. I really don't think they are. I think they got enough stuff going on. So, okay. Last but not least,
last one.
Last but not least, another permit one. I like these permit ones because they're so open for interpretation and they're so vague,
and they show intention, right?
Yes, they show an official project moving forward. Yeah. So there was a permit filed by Walt Disney Imagineering for a demolition and construction project at the Tree of Life in Animal Kingdom. Now, I don't think any of us here think they're going to take down the Tree of Life. That would be silly. Oh. That would be ridiculous. By the way, it's calling for facility demo, general construction, electrical, and area development. Again, very wide, right? So a little bit odd, especially considering that, they just opened the new Zootopia show there. So I don't know what this
what do they need to do, because they just finished doing a bunch of renos in that area.
Unless it's something like structurally, like, I mean, listen, the Tree of Life is pretty old at this point. Maybe it needs some structural work. I don't know. Like maybe they do need to just demolish some of it. And I bet here's the thing: you can't demolish any of the outside of that. It's straight up art that people did on the tree. You can't like just replicate that. You'd have to basically do net new if you're going to demolish any of the outside of it, right? So it's, I don't know. This is an interesting one. Now, this article does mention the permit is almost identical to one that was filed back in February, and that one was around the Zootopia show. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. This says maybe that's just an extension of the old permit, and that maybe there's something else they need to do, or some last minute construction work or changes or something. I don't know.
Maybe there's something that they couldn't get done during the initial Zootopia development that, I guess the practical thing to think of is, you're dealing with a bunch of companies. It could be something was back ordered and they couldn't get it done in time for the opening. And it's like, oh, but we got this part or something, something that was missing, and they have to keep the permit in place just to ensure that whenever the part shows up that they can install it, because doing stuff outside of permits is a great way to get yourself in trouble with all kinds of officials. So
of course.
I guess that it's still very odd though that I'm just like, thinking about, it's like, what else do you need to do there? Like, that you spent a bunch of time in there already. What could be missing?
Yeah. And this article also does note that they put nets over the entire queue for Zootopia Better to Zoogether. Can never say that correctly. Mm-hmm. And people have said that that every once in a while there's like a limb that falls or something like that, and that's why they have it as a safety thing. But maybe they put those nets up proactively because they're going to be doing some work on the outside of the tree. I don't know. I really don't. It is a very interesting thing though. It could be nothing, could be something.
I mean, of all the things to put a permit on in Animal Kingdom, this is honestly the last thing I would have thought of, because there's like the South America's area. I mean, that's already like, well,
yeah, they're building. That's getting built real fast. I don't know if you saw pictures of that, but that's moving quick. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So yeah, it's just odd that like I said, I'm still just trying to rack my brain on what it could be.
Yeah, I don't know. But if anybody has any ideas, let us know what you think it could be. I'd be curious. But yeah. So that's that's our last item, Trevor. That's why we wrap this bad boy up, huh?
That was fun. I didn't I didn't realize that there was enough stuff going on for us to have a whole reckless speculation section. But
honestly, Trevor, whenever I go to write our rundowns, sometimes I will look at like the parks blog and I'll be like, wow, there's nothing going on. And then I have to like dig through the internet to find other things.
Places. Yeah.
Yeah. I just need to dig through the internet to find things. And then I find things that are interesting and that I think are interesting and that I think you think are going to be interesting, especially Poutine hats. So
you don't have to find more Poutine related merchandise for me.
I want a headband. I want a headband that has the ears, but in between the ears has like a little like paper boat of Poutine. Not real, like like in a like a little plush. Just give me that. Can I have that?
The little so the containers that they serve all the food in.
Yeah,
I'm actually surprised that hasn't been made merch yet. Like
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, just to get the little paper, the little boat is the best way I can come up with it. But it's the little paper container that they put these fries in, and then you just put that on the.
My gosh, I just had an amazing but also terrifying idea on that front. All of a sudden,
to actually do that.
Well, so you have like the little paper boat, so like a plushy type version of it.
Yeah.
But then you have like for the different foods, you have like little like those like chibi or like squishmallows or whatever. But so you have a bunch of different ones that you can like interchange into your thing. So it's like for all the foodies, you can have like a a collection of like Funko Pops or something, but it's all like little plushies of like stuff from like
elements,
food around the world.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
I was thinking you were going to suggest, I don't know if you ever saw Despicable Me 2, but at there's a point where Gru is wearing a nacho
the
hat
nacho
made
hat.
out of nachos. Yeah, the nacho hat. I thought you were going to try to say, oh no, let's get a Poutine thing you can wear on your head, and then you can just grab Poutine off your head. That seems dangerous.
I was thinking more like just like a little merch thing that you could collect like little stuff from around the world. I don't know.
I took it to a weird level, and I understand that.
but the idea of a plushie like of the paper container that they serve stuff in is really weird if you think about it. But also it does make sense. So
it does. Yeah.
We'll leave that there.
Yeah, just leave that there. Yeah, let's wrap it up.
Yeah. All right. So since it's a new year, give me a moment. We've been gone for
you don't remember how to do this thing?
Yeah, I mean that was last year, Tom.
That was a whole year ago.
I haven't done this since last year. Can you believe that?
You're gonna do that thing?
Yeah. I don't care. I'm a dad. I can do that.
Yeah, you dad joke it up.
Exactly. So as usual, if you guys have any questions about anything on the show, or you want to share your own trip reports or anything like that, you can always reach us at welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. We love hearing from you guys and hearing what you think about the show. And you can also find us on social media. So you can find us on Facebook as Welcome Home Podcast. You can find us on YouTube as Welcome Home Podcast. You can find us on Instagram as Welcome Home Pics. On Facebook, you can check out our group, Welcome Home Disney Waitlist, where, again, there's lots of great conversation about stuff on the show. People share their own trip reports and thoughts and all that kind of stuff. So, if you're looking for a good Facebook group, we got one there for you. So you can join that. And if you want to help support the show, you can go to store.welcomehomepodcast.co and you can check out some of our different merch there. Maybe if you need a t-shirt for an upcoming trip or something like that, we got you covered there as well. So you can check that out. We also have a Patreon. So you can go to patreon.com/welcomehomepod and you can check out our different levels of Patreon support, which gets you exclusive Patreon merch that you can't get through the store. And all of our Patreon supporters get access to the Discord server, which, as we talked about, is yet another place where we have conversations about the show and, just talking about stuff in general, sometimes random conversations. I will mention it here because, and I'm not going to spoil this for Tom, but we talked about Stranger Things before the show.
Yeah.
But somebody on the Discord mentioned stuff about Stranger Things, but it was just like a passing comment. But I was like, I was I was a little worried that it was going to turn into a whole conversation,
a whole spoiler thing.
Yeah. But people are. I appreciate people are good about that. That there wasn't any actual spoilers going on, but we do talk about stuff outside of Disney as well on there. Stranger Things, case in point, which love Stranger Things. Just going to leave that there too. That it was a great show.
This is a frustration. The thing that they talked about was a frustration I have with a lot of TV shows where they spend too much time talking and not in emergency situations and not enough time running for their lives. That was what we were talking about. And
yes, it was. I got it once I watched it. So I binged watched Stranger Things was the thing. So so I was behind, but I got caught up and I understand the reference. Anyway, that was an aside. Just hey, Discord server, we're there. You can talk about stuff with us. Check out the Patreon if you want to get access to the Discord server. Last but not least, if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify or anywhere you can leave us a 5-star review, please do so. It just helps more people find the show. It's it's good for feeding the internet Tamagotchi algorithm. I don't know. It's hey, like your daughter with the Tamagotchi. You got to help us feed the show. Like click those 5 stars. It's like making sure that the Tamagotchi doesn't die.
Make sure that doesn't die. Yeah, that's right. So you got to make sure you feed it pie and candy. That's what it eats. So so 5-star reviews are pie and candy. The other part that you have to do is subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast. That's the other thing. That's the candy part of it. So give the podcast some candy by subscribing. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube Music, just about any podcast app that's out there. You can find us. Huge thank you to DVC Resale Market for sponsoring this episode and for being our partners for many, many years now. Join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion. Of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
When we had a chair, how she can cuddle, it's no man's affair. I look around for all the home, found her in her sugar bowl. Hey, look out!